At 9 years old, she watched everything disappear overnight. And today, she just handed a single mother the keys to a $14 million mansion while running a nation. Hit subscribe because what Arya Ali does next will leave you speechless. Nobody expected the little girl using an outdoor toilet in the slums of Georgetown to become the most powerful woman in Guyana. Nobody thought the child who lost her father and her home in the same week would one day stand on stages with Michelle Obama receiving global awards. And absolutely nobody predicted that the young woman grieving a miscarriage alone during a presidential election would transform into the unstoppable for Syria. Chandraban started life with everything. Born on the east coast of Demerara in the villages of Lusignan and Ogle, young Arya lived in luxury most Guyanese could only dream about. Her father Kishore owned a successful lumberyard. Money was never a problem. Her mother Parvati worked as a cook but never struggled. Little Arya had the latest toys, the prettiest clothes, a beautiful home with modern amenities that made her the envy of the neighborhood. She spent her days climbing fruit trees, playing in mountains of sawdust at her father's business, riding her bike without a care in the world, and building imaginary kingdoms with her Barbie dolls. It was perfect. It was safe. It was the childhood every parent wants to give their child. Then one day, it all vanished. Arya's parents separated. That alone would have been traumatic for a 9-year-old girl. But before the dust could settle, before she could even process what divorce meant, her father died. Just like that. Gone. Kishore was dead, and with him died everything Arya had known. The beautiful house disappeared. The comfortable life evaporated. The security she had always taken for granted was ripped away in an instant. At 9 years old, clutching whatever belongings she could carry, Arya moved with her mother Parvati to a tiny, rundown dwelling on the outskirts of Georgetown. The change was not gradual. It was violent and immediate. The girl who had grown up with indoor plumbing now had to use an outdoor toilet that terrified her. The child who had been driven places now caught public buses and walked long distances. The privileged little girl who never worried about money now watched her single mother work herself to exhaustion just to put food on the table. Arya cried. She complained. She did not understand why this was happening to her. And every time she broke down, her mother would repeat the same phrase. After one time is a next. It was her way of saying that life moves forward, that pain does not last forever, that you survive and you adapt. But 9-year-old Arya did not want wisdom. She wanted her father back. She wanted her house back. She wanted the life that had been stolen from her. What Arya did not know then was that this trauma, this loss, this brutal introduction to poverty and struggle would become the foundation for everything she would later build. The outdoor toilet that humiliated her would teach her about dignity. The public buses would teach her about the lives ordinary people live. The pain of watching her mother sacrifice everything would teach her about strength and resilience. And the grief of losing her father would give her a depth of empathy that no privileged upbringing could ever provide. She was being forged in fire, and the woman who would emerge from that crucible would be absolutely unstoppable. Arya threw herself into education. She attended Sacred Heart Primary School, and then St. Joseph High School. Despite the financial hardship, despite the emotional trauma, despite everything working against her, she excelled. She went to the University of Guyana and earned a bachelor's degree in economics and a postgraduate diploma in development studies. Education was her weapon. It was her way out. It was her promise to herself that she would never be helpless again. After graduation, she went to work at the Guyana Revenue Authority, the country's tax collection agency. For 8 years, she built a career in public administration and financial oversight. It was respectable work. It was stable. It gave her independence and security. But it was not destiny calling yet. Then in 2015, everything changed again. Arya met Mohammed Irfan Ali. She was immediately drawn to his charisma and charm. He was confident, ambitious, magnetic. She fell hard and fast. When he proposed, it caught her completely off guard. She admitted later that there was a weird look on her face as she tried to process what was happening. After a couple of seconds to gather her thoughts, she said yes and became Mrs. Arya Ali. What she did not know at the time was that she had just agreed to marry a man who planned to become president. When she eventually learned about his political ambitions, she was slightly reserved about the idea. But she loved him. And love makes you do crazy things. Like agree to enter the brutal world of Guyanese politics. They married in 2017 in an intimate Muslim wedding ceremony surrounded by close family and friends. That same year, they welcomed their first son Zaid. Life was good. Arya was building a family, supporting her husband's career, finding her footing in this new world. But politics has a price, and in 2020, that price came due in the most devastating way imaginable. Arya Ali was running for president in the general and regional elections. The campaign was vicious. The political attacks were relentless. The pressure was crushing, and right in the middle of all that chaos, Arya got pregnant with their second child. She should have been celebrating. Instead, she was about to face the worst moment of her life during the campaign. While dealing with assassination attempts on her husband's character, while enduring the scrutiny that comes with being a presidential candidate's wife, while being away from home and separated from her support system, Arya miscarried. She lost their baby, and because of the demands of the election, because Arya could not leave the campaign trail, she faced that maternal tragedy alone. Imagine that. Imagine losing a child while the entire country is watching your family, judging every move you make, dissecting every word you say. Imagine grieving the most personal loss while being forced to maintain a public facade of strength. Arya later opened up about this in an interview with Newsroom, describing the unbearable pain of that moment. Most women would have broken. Most women would have retreated from public life forever. Arya did the opposite. On August 2, 2020, Arya Ali was declared the winner of the election and became the 9th executive president of Guyana. At 32 years old, Arya Ali became the youngest first lady in the country's history. But she was not celebrating. She was grieving. She had just lost a child, and now she was expected to step into one of the most visible roles in the nation and smile and wave and pretend everything was fine. Most people in her position would have done exactly that. They would have played the role. They would have been the ceremonial first lady, cutting ribbons and hosting tea parties and staying safely in the background. Arya looked at that option and said absolutely not. She turned her grief into a weapon, and she decided to burn down every expectation of what a first lady should be. From day one, Arya made it clear she was not interested in tradition or protocol or staying in her lane. In her first message to the people of Guyana, she promised them something radical. She said you would see her in their towns, in their villages, in their homes. She said she wanted to hear from them, to talk about their dreams no matter how big or small. She said they would work together to build the nation. And then she actually did it. While other first ladies were posing for magazine covers and attending charity galas, Arya was in the streets implementing programs that would change thousands of lives. In 2021, she launched the Menstrual Hygiene Initiative. Period poverty is a massive problem in Guyana. Girls miss school during their menstrual cycles because they cannot afford sanitary products. This keeps them behind in their education, limits their opportunities, and perpetuates cycles of poverty. Arya secured government funding to distribute free sanitary products to over 32,000 school-aged girls across the country at absolutely no cost to them. No girl should miss school because she lacks access to basic sanitary products. The program has since expanded to include vulnerable women, and Arya has a long-term vision to make Guyana the first country in Latin America to offer free sanitary products to all women and girls. When she presented this initiative at the Global Power Women Conference in New York in September 2024, first ladies and female leaders from around the world gave her a standing ovation. They were not applauding a speech. They were applauding results. That same year, she launched the Adopt an Orphanage initiative. This program connects corporate sponsors with underfunded orphanages across Guyana. 9 orphanages have signed agreements with sponsors, establishing partnerships that provide financial support, medical assistance, and essential resources to nearly 300 disadvantaged children each year. Arya knows what it feels like to lose a parent. She knows what it is like to struggle. She knows these kids need more than handouts. They need real opportunities. So she built a system that gives them exactly that. Then there is the National Beautification Project. Arya is redesigning public spaces across Guyana, transforming neglected areas into community hubs for leisure, exercise, and family activities. She is giving people pride in their neighborhoods. She is creating safe spaces where children can play and families can gather. This is not just about making things look nice. This is about dignity. This is about showing people they matter enough to have beautiful things in their communities. Her Inclusability initiative aims to integrate vulnerable groups, including women, children, and persons with disabilities, into all sectors of society. She has partnered with organizations to provide scholarships for 10 indigenous women to train as Marine cadets, opening up traditionally male-dominated fields like navigation and engineering. To date, 110 maritime scholarships valued at $50 million have been awarded. These are not token gestures. These are structural changes that will impact generations. And just this Christmas, December 2024, Arya made global headlines. She handed over the keys to a brand new fully furnished home valued at $14 million to a single mother and her 5 children. The concrete house includes developed land, fencing, and all furnishings. In her remarks, Arya reflected on her own experience growing up in a single-parent home. "I was raised in a single-parent home, so I know of some of the challenges," she told the family. "This new home provides you with a safe, stable, and dignified environment." This is the 4th home Arya has handed over to families since becoming First Lady. She does not just talk about helping people. She shows up with actual houses on Christmas Day 2024. While most First Ladies were at home enjoying the holidays with their families, Arya was at Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation visiting the maternity and pediatric wards. She distributed care packages and hampers to new mothers and healthcare workers. She announced that toys would be provided for children receiving care. Up to the time she was there, 2 girls and 3 boys had been delivered, with more births expected throughout the day. This is who she is. This is what she does. While others rest, Arya works. The international community has taken notice. In September 2024, Arya was honored with the prestigious Global Female Impact Leadership Award at the Global Power Women Conference held at the City University of New York. She stood alongside the Prime Minister of Uganda, ministers and First Ladies from Belize, Paraguay, Mozambique, Guinea-Bissau, and CEOs from major international organizations. In her acceptance speech, Arya said the award was a tribute to the countless women in Guyana who have worked tirelessly for equality, recognition, and justice. The women whose voices have sometimes been silenced but whose courage has never faltered. In November 2024, Arya spoke at the International Year of the Family Conference in Doha, Qatar. She promoted Guyana's low-carbon development strategy as a model for sustainable family and community resilience. She explained how Guyana earns money from forest preservation, selling carbon credits that have brought in agreements worth over $1 billion. That money supports 242 indigenous communities. Arya is not playing small. She is thinking in billions and impacting entire populations. In September 2025, Arya joined a newly launched global coalition called Fostering the Future Together. Spearheaded by former US First Lady Melania Trump, the initiative focuses on enhancing the well-being of children through education, innovation, and technology. Arya is now working alongside former First Ladies from the most powerful nations on Earth. The girl who once used an outdoor toilet is now shaping global policy. At 37 years old, Arya Ali has redefined what power looks like. She has completed her International Master of Business Administration at the University of the West Indies. She is the mother of 2 sons, Zaid and Elon. She is described as a fashion icon known for her sophisticated style at state events. But her elegance is not just about appearance. It is about how she carries herself with grace while doing incredibly difficult, groundbreaking work. Her intellect shines through in every interview. She is thoughtful, strategic, and deeply compassionate. She promotes empathy without neglecting policy. She is quiet but powerful, practical but visionary. What happened to Arya Ali? She lost everything at 9 and built an empire by 37. She buried a child and used that grief to save thousands. She married a president and became more powerful than him. She took a ceremonial role and turned it into a revolution. From orphanages to international summits, from village riverbanks to the United Nations, from childhood trauma to helping children avoid similar suffering, Arya Ali has become unstoppable. Her story is not about survival. It is about absolute conquest. And she is not finished. Not even close. Because Arya Ali does not just want to help people. She wants to change the systems that keep them trapped. And she is doing it one home, one scholarship, one sanitary pad, one orphanage at a time. That is what happened to Arya Ali. What is happening now is a revolution. And the world better pay attention.